My neighbor kept calling the cops on me for noise complaints. I discovered why she really wanted me gone. My neighbor Sandra stood on my porch at midnight, screaming about my excessive noise, while 3 police officers tried to calm her down. The 4th noise complaint she'd filed this week, even though I'd been visiting my mother in hospice every single night. I have recordings, she shrieked, waving her phone at the officers who looked exhausted, probably recognizing her from the 12 previous false calls she'd made since I moved in 6 months ago. Officer Rivera, who'd responded to most of Sandra's calls, pulled me aside. We know you weren't even home, but she keeps calling. Maybe try talking to her? I tried. Brought cookies when I first moved in, kept my TV volume low, never had parties, but Sandra wanted me gone. She'd made that clear the day I'd moved in, mentioning how the neighborhood was changing and certain people were bringing down property values. I'm a critical care nurse. I work 12-hour shifts, come home exhausted, and literally sleep or meal prep. The wildest thing I do is run my dishwasher at night. But Sandra had decided I was the enemy. First, it was complaints about my car being too loud, a hybrid Camry. Then my aggressive lawn decorations, one small garden gnome. Then alleged smells, lights, visitors that didn't exist. Your music is destroying my peace, Sandra yelled that midnight. I haven't been home in 3 days, I said calmly. My mother is dying. Liar, I have it all documented. That's when I decided to stop taking the high road. If Sandra wanted war, she'd get precision. First, I researched. Found out Sandra had moved here 2 years ago after being forced to sell her previous house. Dug deeper. She'd done this before to 3 other neighbors, all young women, all who'd eventually moved. She then tried to buy their houses through her brother at below market rates. She wanted my house. I bought it from a desperate seller for an incredible price, and it was worth double what I paid. Sandra knew this. Her pattern was clear. Harass people until they moved, have her brother swoop in with a cash offer, flip the house for profit. Time to flip the script. I started with perfectly legal retaliation. Sandra had called the cops saying I was having a party. I threw an actual party, a permitted, fully legal barbecue for 20 people. Ended at exactly 9:59 p.m., 1 minute before noise ordinance kicked in. She complained about my eyesore garden. I planted more. Bright pink flamingos, garden gnomes in every corner, wind chimes that sang in the slightest breeze, all within HOA guidelines I'd memorized. She filmed me constantly. I installed cameras that happened to capture her entire front yard. Posted a sign, smile, you're on camera, completely legal. She hated being watched. But the real chess move came when I befriended her other neighbor, Roger. Roger had lived there 20 years, hated Sandra. She killed my wife's roses with herbicide and claimed they were on her property, he told me. Roger had something beautiful, a surveyor's report showing Sandra's fence was 3 feet onto his property. He'd never acted on it because the previous owner was elderly and sweet. What if you acted on it now? I suggested. Roger grinned. He hired a surveyor, confirmed the encroachment, and demanded Sandra move her fence. The fence she'd spent $15,000 installing. Moving it would destroy her xeriscaped yard she'd spent another $20,000 on. While Sandra was dealing with that nightmare, I played my next card. Her brother Brett, the one who bought the houses, I knew his wife from the hospital. Lovely woman named Carol who had no idea her husband was using her inheritance for Sandra's schemes. I didn't tell Carol anything directly, but I did mention at lunch how strange it was that my neighbor's brother kept buying houses on our street, and how coincidental that his sister had noise complaints about every seller. Carol was smart. She figured it out within a week. Brett got served divorce papers and a forensic accountant started reviewing their finances. Sandra's complaints suddenly stopped. She was too busy fighting Roger about the fence and dealing with Brett's drama, but I wasn't done. See all those false police reports? That's a crime. And Officer Rivera had been documenting everything, building a case. He just needed someone to formally press charges. I did. So did the 3 women she'd previously harassed, who I tracked down and convinced to come forward. Sandra got charged with filing false reports and harassment. The fine was minimal, but the record was permanent. Then the HOA got involved. All those complaints she filed against me, they'd been investigating her for filing fraudulent complaints. $30,000 in fines for various violations she'd accused others of, but was actually guilty of herself. The fence situation cost her $40,000 to resolve. Brett's divorce cost her the house flipping scheme. The criminal charges made her unemployable at the real estate firm where she'd worked part-time. 6 months later, Sandra put her house up for sale. She needed the money for legal fees and fines. I bought it through an LLC, so she didn't know it was me until closing. The look on her face when I showed up to sign papers? Priceless. I paid fair market value because I'm not a monster, but I made sure she knew I'd be renting it out to travel nurses, young women on temporary assignments, her nightmare demographic. She moved 3 states away, sent me a long email about how I'd ruined her life and how she'd only wanted quality neighbors. I replied with one line, you got one, too bad you couldn't recognize it. Roger and I share beers on Sunday now. His wife's new roses are thriving where Sandra's fence used to be. The travel nurses next door are delightful. Sometimes when you fight fire with fire, you just end up clearing the dead wood so something better can grow.